Well, it's been a little while since I've shot a scoring round here with my trad bow, and I'm going to do that here today at 18 meters or 20 yards, and to submit my score for the Backyard Archery Championships. So yeah, it's been a considerable amount of time since I shot a score here with this JT Traditional Archery Zeus. Shout out to John for hooking me up with this bow, beautiful bow. And I haven't shot it in quite some time for score here at 18 meters or 20 yards, and that's what I'm going to be doing here today. I've got a camera downrange so you'll be able to see the impact points the entire time. This is my score submission with my trad bow for the Kaminsky Archery Backyard Championships for the indoor round for 2026. We're running this tournament currently live right now on my website, jakekaminsky.com. I'll have a link down in the description below and a card at the top there, as well as a little shopping button here on the video where you can sign up and register for the Backyard Archery Championships. Essentially what it is a digital mail-in tournament that archers around the world are competing in currently in any discipline basically. Recurve, compound, barebow, traditional, you name it. We even have youth rounds and kid rounds as well. Even rounds for NASP archers to shoot in case they're interested in joining in on the fun and the actual tournament itself. And alongside the tournament, we're also running a giveaway currently for a set of Easton X10 Parallel Pro 3.2 millimeter arrows, including tungsten points in your choice of spine. We ship that worldwide to the winner. The way that you enter is you sign up for the Backyard Archery Championships. You get one entry. Every round you submit, every score you submit from there, you get one more entry. And you're allowed to submit one score for each discipline you want if you have the ability to do so, including traditional, recurve, barebow, compound, kids rounds, whatever it is. Every entry you submit, if you are a kid, of course, you can't be an adult and submit a kid round, but basically every round you submit plus the sign up gets you one entry. And there is also a free entry option as well. Full links down in the description below, full details down in the links in the description below. And you can also head to my website, jakekaminsky.com, and click on the events page, the events tab rather, and you'll be able to see a little bit more information through that in case you're interested in checking out more about the Backyard Archery Championships or the giveaway that we are currently running. So today's round is a 60 arrow indoor round out of a total of 600 points. I'm going to shoot 3 arrow ends, a total of 20 ends for 60 arrows. The first half, I'm going to do gap shooting and try to get that dialed in and see how it goes. And then the second half, I'm going to shoot Instinctive and see if I can beat last year's score from the Backyard Archery Championships indoor round here with my trad bow. I shot a 422 out of 600, and we will see how it goes. And I will be moving the camera around to different points as the video goes along so you can see different views of technique and form and bow reaction and all sorts of other stuff. And yeah, I'm excited to see if I can actually beat that 422. And I'm excited to see how gap shooting versus instinctive shooting goes in the actual scores. And more importantly, how I feel about the actual round itself. And I am on a 40 centimeter face down range. I do know that some traditional clubs or trad rounds that clubs host are shot on the 60 centimeter face, but the 40 centimeter face is kind of like international standard regulation size for the most part, and so we just chose that target face because it's commonly available out there. I don't even have a 60 centimeter target face. My plan is I'm going to shoot 2 ends of practice, get kind of sighted in, get my crawl or gap or whatever I'm going to end up doing. I'm not going to crawl, but I'll definitely be gap shooting. So I got to get that dialed in for the first 2 ends and then get right into scoring. I'm already warmed up, so we'll see how this goes and get my my gap or whatever I'm going to end up doing here dialed in quickly. Like I said, it's been a while, so I have no idea where it's supposed to be here. Trying to use an artifact on my bow, like the mole hair here if I can. Alright, I think I got it. I'm going to do another end of practice, one more of this, one more 6 arrow end of practice, and then I'll start shooting my 3 arrow ends for score. Trying to figure out if I want to look at where I want to hit or at where I'm gapping to. Split vision thing, whatever that's called. Been a while since I've shot actually, and trad archery, no clicker is always a little challenging, especially if I'm trying to aim. I like just instinctive shooting, but I've already shot 2 ends of practice this way, so I'm kind of committed at this point. Okay, first end for score here at the Kaminsky Archery Backyard Championships indoor round here with my trad bow. After I go down and score each end, I'll let you know what I shot before I shoot the next 3 arrows. I can't quite tell from this distance. It looks like a 9.65, something like that, but I'll let you know once I come back. That first end was 10.65 for 21. That was a 10.87 for 25. Starting to hit a little higher. I'm trying to get a little bit more into my back and get my draw length proper. So maybe that's kicking them up high. That one was a 9.65 for 20. That was a 8.77 for 22. That was a 10.98 for 27. Oof. That last one was 8.86 for 22. Really trying to not let creep in and shot anticipation gremlins come in. That was a 8.77 for 22 again. Because I just don't like the split vision gap, whatever. Not as fun as Instinctive. That one was an 8.74 for 19. That last one was 10.98 for 27, and this is the last end for this 30 arrows here. So it's odd, from the beginning to the end of my round, I had to change my gap by like 8 to 10 inches probably. Probably at least that much. It's really weird. Maybe I changed my anchor on accident. So the first half finished with a 224 out of 300, and that was with my gap shooting technique. And like I said, I had to change my gap by about that much over the entire round, and it's not so fun for me to do gap shooting. I just generally don't like it as much as Instinctive, so I'm excited to see how it goes on the second half Instinctive-wise. I'm going to roll right into it and not have any practice rounds and just go straight to score. So we'll see how it goes the first couple of ends, but this is how it's supposed to go in a tournament. The first half and the second half are just halves. There's no practice between the two, and so you got to roll right into scoring. So I'm going to do the same exact thing here today as if I was in a tournament. You might see a bit of snap shooting here or there. It's not a big deal. It's just part of what I'm doing, is playing with my trad bow here outside my backyard, and that's the entire point of this tournament. See how it goes here the second half, doing instinctive shooting, rolling right into scoring right now. Those do happen. That first one was an 883 for 19. That was a 998 for 26. That was a 887 for 23. Well, that last one's a little rough, huh? That was a 993 to the right, and that was a 21. That was a 10.96 for 25. Little creep on that one. That was 10.77 for 24. That was a 10.96 for a 25. That was a 10.98 for 27. Two ends left here. That last one was a 10.32. It's tough when the brain's starting to want to take over and overthink things instead of just letting it happen like you should in just instinctive style shooting. It's just so easy to let the overthinking come in. But when instinctive goes well and it's smooth, it feels so fun. All right, so last arrow was good. I'm very happy with that. I'm going to take the camera down there. We'll total it all up, talk about the score I shot, and what I feel is the difference between gap shooting and instinctive style aiming. definitely is very eye-opening what I felt today, and I'd like to share that with you. So the total here for the second half was a 229 out of 300, and I shot a total of a 453 out of 600, which is 31 points better than the last indoor round I shot with this same bow. I think these are different arrows. The tune's a little bit better, so things are working a little bit better, but it's 100% me. It's absolutely, without a doubt, my fault that I didn't shoot 100 points better. I think with some practice, either method could work really well, meaning gap shooting versus instinctive shooting, right? So the first half I shot gap shooting and shot a 224, and that included having 2 ends of practice to get my gap dialed in. The first end was rough. I had a couple of misses and all sorts of stuff trying to figure it out. And then in the middle of the round I decided, let's shoot some instinctive style, because I genuinely like instinctive better. It is much, it's a lot more fun for me, and I'm going to talk about that here in a second. But first, the score, 229, without any practice, just shooting instinctive, it's 5 points better than my gap shooting. So it's actually performing better. And I think with some more time, either method could dramatically shoot a much higher score. At least I could shoot a dramatically higher score with either method. However, the big difference here is not just the performance, it's how I felt about it, right? And this is part of doing this type of stuff. If you've never shot a tournament before, you never put pressure on yourself under constraints to shoot a certain amount of arrows, and you score every arrow at a given distance, you don't really learn a whole lot about yourself and about your technique. And I've learned a lot about my technique and maybe the style that I prefer a little bit more and why. So I can shoot consistently relatively close scores between 2 different methods, but the big difference is actually how I feel about it. The way that instinctive makes me feel is when I shoot the arrow, I'm excited to see where it went. And when it goes in the middle, it's a celebration when it goes in the middle. Whereas with gap shooting, it's a bit more stressful and anxiety inducing and anxiety prone because of target panic symptoms, or, you know, shot anticipation gremlins. And it results, when the arrow lands in the middle, the result is, thank God it went in the middle, not a celebration of it went in the middle. So there's just such a big difference in the way that how the shot feels, how archery feels for me when using this style bow. It's not a primitive bow, but compared to my other bows, this is like super primitive. One piece, laminated, all put together, even though it's got modern materials with carbon fiber and G10 and all sorts of crazy stuff on it. And yes, it's a reflex deflex longbow, but it's still super primitive compared to where I'm coming from. And so going even further down that line of shooting instinctive, where I just stare at the middle, I draw back, and I let it go when it feels right. Sometimes I hold a little longer, sometimes I snap shoot. Obviously with practice and repetition there, it'd probably be a little bit more consistent, and the groups would definitely tighten up. That's why I think both methods can be good and can shoot well. You know, I would argue probably gap shooting, you may be more accurate, but for me, instinctive is just far more fun, and I'll be more likely to shoot more arrows this way because it is that much more fun. Like I said, I celebrate when the arrows go in the middle. It's not that I'm dreading letting go and wondering where the arrow goes. So it's like a game of hit it versus a game of don't miss it. I prefer instinctive shooting so much more. And what I could do, because the tournament doesn't end until mid-February, again, full details down in the description below for the Backyard Archery Championships indoor round, I could, in theory, hold back this score and continue to shoot rounds and get a better score, and then submit it at the end, my best score of, you know, the time frame that we're running this tournament. That's the beauty of what we're doing. It doesn't have to be your only round that you shoot. You could shoot multiples and practice over time and submit your best one, but because I want to shoot 4 different style bows, I want to shoot barebow, recurve, compound, and traditional, I'm going to shoot all those rounds and submit each round, and I don't really have time to continue to practice each one. Maybe I will, but I don't anticipate having that luxury just because of everything going on. And so I'm going to submit this score here of a 453 for the traditional round that I shot here for the indoor round for the Backyard Archery Championships in 2026. So again, if you're interested in signing up for that, full details down in the description below. You can head to my website, jkaminski.com, and click on the events page. It'll take you there. Essentially, if you're wanting to participate, you got to head to the USA store and sign up there because that's where we're running it out of. And every participant gets a sticker. You can also grab apparel for the actual tournament itself. We have a design available for that. Thanks to Ryan for taking care of the designing of the actual logos and stuff. Super huge help, and everything looks excellent. And yeah, like I said, this was a lot of fun, and I definitely prefer shooting Instinctive. And it gives me nothing more than just focusing on the process, feeling the shot, and enjoying the shot as well as the result the entire time. Even when they're way off, it's still just, you know, funny, and it sometimes is laugh worthy for sure.